Hello from Adventure Island. Welcome to the world famous Kualoa Ranch. It is just about time for us to go and take their most popular tour, the movie sites tour. We're going to go all over Kualoa Ranch for over an hour and check out different places that movies and television shows were filmed here in Hawaii. So it's time for us to get started. So let's go hop on the bus and get going.
All right, you guys, welcome to Kualoa Ranch. There's 4,000 acres here. This land division is called Oʻahu. And then I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about... Excuse me, young man. You can't be in there. Oh, you work here? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right, you guys, so we're going to take you back to the 1800s when Dr. Jared Judd came over here from New England. He was a doctor and missionary, became a chief advisor to King Kamehameha III. He was so well respected by the king that he was able to renounce his citizenship to the United States and become a citizen of the territory of Hawaii. Now, 1850, King Kamehameha sold Dr. Judd Kualoa, 622 acres here. 1860, he sold him the Kaʻaʻawa Valley. Then in 1880, the land division of Hawaiʻi was in a land auction. Dr. Judd's grandson, Charles Hastings Judd, bought the Hawaiʻi Valley, 1,100 acres. So what their mission is here today, 7 generations, 175 years later, is to enrich people's lives by restoring the land and celebrating its rich history for future generations to enjoy. So there's no high rises or development, only what you guys see. If you look over that white Quonset hut down there, all the way up to the water line, you can see the remnants left of the sugar mill. And we were only in existence about 8 years because of a few things. The lack of fresh water, the dry climate, and the salt from the ocean, so it wasn't very profitable. So only in existence about 8 years. So what we did after the sugar mill, we got into cattle ranching. That's one of the things we're known for today, besides all the different movies, commercials, music videos, and the local shows. So if at any time during the tour we see any of our cattle, please don't reach out and try and touch any of them. Mama gets pretty protective over her calf, and we like to try and be respectful of that, okay? And then we're going to talk, we're waiting for the horseback tour up there. They have the right-of-way here. Sometimes, especially if a bus is coming through here, we have to hang way back because the air brakes might scare the horses. And believe it or not, most of the people who come and take the horseback tour here have never been on a horse before. So we have to give them the right-of-way all the time. So that's a good thing, right? All right, we're going to get up here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the first little bit of Hollywood that you're going to see. It's a set that was used in Jurassic World. And Zach and Gray were looking around, hoping they would find something to drive so they could drive away from the dinosaurs instead of running, because they'd been running from the dinosaurs. They did come across a shed, and in that shed, they found 2 of the original Jurassic Park Jeeps. They were able to swap the batteries out, hot wire one of them, and they busted right out through a gate that we're going to drive right through. Now, it does say, danger high voltage, do not touch the fence or the gate that we're going to go right through. There is 2 raptors, one on each side of the gate, and you guys will be able to take a look at that here in just a minute. So it's used in Jurassic World. Looks like we're going to pull over for these e-bikes to come through. So we kind of run alongside of this other truck ahead of us. We used to be in buses all the time with 40 people, so now they split into these trucks. So you can see there's about, 20 and 20. All right, here we go. I'll drive by real slow here so you guys can get a couple of pictures. They look pretty friendly. What do you think, these raptors, huh? Alright, we made it, you guys. Alright. I'm going to take everybody back to December 7th, 1941, the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Now, when this happened, when that happened, the military came in, they set up martial law. When they set up martial law, they took over 30% of the Kualoa Ranch, set up 15 bunkers on Kualoa property, over 100 bunkers throughout the whole island. They also set up a 6,000-foot-long airfield that ran parallel to the Kamehameha Highway down here on the right-hand side, and to land and take off their P-38 aircraft. By the time 1945 rolled around, Kualoa and the island of Oʻahu was more protected than anywhere else in the whole world. We didn't want anything like Pearl Harbor to ever happen again, so they really manned it up over here. Now we're going to come up on the first couple of bunkers, and you're going to be able to see the top of the pillbox and then the steps leading down into those bunkers right over here on the right-hand side. Underground bunkers. Not much down there except maybe a couple inches of dirt, maybe some centipedes and some cockroaches. So somebody was trying to talk me into going down there and checking it out one night. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think I want to go underground with those creepy crawlies in there, huh? All right, we're going to get up here, and you guys, you can see some of our cattle. They're kind of taking it easy today under the trees, getting in the shade where they can lay down. They're like, oh yeah, it feels good. Now, I like to tease people that this could be an Airbnb right over here. Pitch a tent right in there, spend the night right there. What do you guys think? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. A couple more bunkers up here, one to house ammunition, another one for the generators. The very last one on the right-hand side is where they backed a truck up with a 50 caliber machine gun on it that could shoot 7.5 miles out into the ocean. So you can't really see the ocean very well from this vantage point, but back then these trees were in here, so they had a direct shot out into the water. If anybody are Lost fans, anybody see the Lost series? This bunker on the left is a military bunker, but it was used in one season, I think season 4 of Lost. It was also used in Hawaii Five-0. So we're going to get up to the biggest bunker we have anywhere on property. It's called Battery Cooper. And it was blown into the side of the mountain, this bunker, 225 feet long. There is a 7-story lookout tower on the exterior of the bunker. We don't get to go in it, but we will be able to walk you through the bunker. When we first get up there, you're going to see the military ambulance, and then you're going to see, you're going to go in, you're going to see emergency supplies, military memorabilia, and then all movie memorabilia. When we exit, you're going to see the pin scour Jeep that was used in Jurassic World with the Gillimimuses running right alongside of it. And only when we exit can you guys cross the road and take some pictures of the beautiful view that you're going to see up here. This road is used by all the different tours, so the buses, the e-bikes, the Raptors, the Jeeps, the vans, the pickups, one way in, one way out. Excuse me, one way out. So we want to make sure that everybody, when I get the steps down, and then if you guys would put your seat belts back on the seat so nobody trips over it on the way down. But all the different tours that run up here, want to make sure we keep everybody safe. So You guys go into the bunker first, and then we are going to, when you exit, you can look both ways and then cross the road after you exit. And ocean, okay? So let me get up here. We're going to get them steps down for you. And let me see if these guys want me to... all right. Her truck will be on the left side and my truck will be on the right, okay? Just so you guys know which truck you're in, all right? So this is Battery Cooper, World War II bunker built in 1943. And by the time there's one, if you guys look, there's a big round circle here where the asphalt meets the concrete. This is where they had the 6-inch rapid fire guns that could shoot 15 miles out into the ocean. Okay, gun number 1 was right here. Gun number 2 is going to be down at the exit. Now those guns never did get fired because by the time the war was over, as the guns never were in operation. So they were here till about 1947 and then they dismantled them, okay? But they did man this bunker for quite a while because they didn't want anything like Pearl Harbor to ever happen again. Now, if you guys look out, you can see out where the water meets the skyline out there, there's a big land turtle out there. That's our active Kaneohe Marine Base. So when they bombed Pearl Harbor, they came in from this angle first. They took out that airfield first and then flew over and bombed Pearl Harbor, okay? So come on in, I'm gonna show you guys the inside of the guns. You're gonna be able to see those over here on this side. You can see what the guns look like. They loaded them this way, and this is the way they look out there on the that circle. If you look behind you, you can see the blueprint. The bunker is in a U shape. Gun number 1, right up there where I talked about. Gun number 2 was down at the exit. Now, we're still in Kualoa, okay? Halfway through, it switches. Ahupua'a is a land division. It switches Ahupua'as to Kaʻaʻawa. So we're going to enter Kualoa, exit Kaʻaʻawa. Okay? Come on in, you can see what they were flying back in the 40s over here. Our artist painted that, and then the destruction that was going on during the war. All right? And I'll like to stop right here, make sure I got everybody coming this way. All right? So 7 years ago, back in 2018, so only 7 years ago, there was a missile strike alert. Was anybody here that year? Now it came across people's cell phones, the radio, television, that we were going to get hit by a missile. Everybody took cover. People were going into ditches or wherever else they could go. All right? There was 300 people on property that day. They brought 300 people up into this bunker. They shut that door. They shut the exit door, and they were in here for a few hours. Now, it was a false alarm, but there's enough provisions in that room over there for 200 people for 2 weeks. So there was 300 people, so about a week and a half, right? You can see the menu over there. That's what the food that is in this bunker. So we could actually survive in here if we needed to. Come on in, you're gonna see the military memorabilia. This is on loan from us, from Sergeant Major Leonardi. And look at the walkie-talkie, look at how big that is. Can you imagine carrying that around? Hello? Hello? Are you there?
Yeah.
That's pretty big to be carrying around, right? All right, you guys. And then we've got the airfield. This is what the airfield was made out of. It's metal, but you can see it's in 1-foot strips. Now, the reason that they built it this way, there's actually a locking mechanism where the slot is. It goes in, clicks into place. The reason that they built it this way, so they could actually pick up the runway and move it to wherever they needed it. Kind of a good idea, right? It did run along the Kamehameha Highway here, and then you can see a little wider view of it over here. This is the runway that was out there on by the highway. Okay, come on in. You can see all the military posters that were up during the war over here on this side. And you can also see the aircraft. Can you read? Can you read? Yeah? Can you read what that says? That's right. Yeah, that's what it says, right? Why would they name something an airplane Stacy? Because probably stunk, huh? Yeah, probably the exhaust that was coming out of it back in the 40s. Yeah. So, all right, you guys, that's it for what I'm going to explain about the World War II, okay? We're going to go right into, come on in, all the different movies, commercials, music videos, the local shows. All the movies are on this big poster, and then all the TV shows and the series over here. You guys are familiar with Hawaii Five-0? Episode 612, October 2015, they used a side bunker right in here. And then the 3 local shows, Magnum PI, Hawaii Five-0, NCIS. None of these 3 shows are on the air anymore. Broke my heart. You know who this is? Yes, you do. How about you kids? You know who this is? Who is it? Tell me who it is. Yes, that's right. What year was he here?
2023.
Yeah, so just 2 years ago, right? But let me tell you, it broke my heart when these shows went off the air. All I can do now is watch the reruns. So I'm going to let you guys go into the next room once I tell you why they built that model. They built that model so they knew strategically where to set 280 live explosions. Has anybody seen Wind Talkers? Nicolas Cage, The Battle of Saipan, they were trying to break the Navajo Code. Anybody see that? No? All right, it was the biggest Hollywood production of explosions back in 2002. Nothing to that magnitude happens anymore because most of the time explosions are all CGI, computer-generated imaging, right? Although NCIS Hawaii, they blew up a car over in Hakipuku, our 3rd Land Division over there. So every once in a while, last year they blew up a car. So they do on real small scale. So what I'm going to tell you guys when you walk through is you're going to see a lot of posters. You're going to see some props that were used in different movies. And then a lot of those, what you see, we're going to talk about on the tours. Okay? So, and then if you guys, when you come out the other end, make sure everybody looks both ways before you step out onto the road because the traffic, you know, is kind of constant here, okay? So you guys go ahead on your own and then I'll meet you over on the other side, all right? Any questions, you guys? Everybody's good? All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Yep. Yes. Yep. one's older? Which one's older?
Oh, the gyrosphere. It's from Jurassic Park, which you can watch when you're here.
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
Yeah. I'm going to point out the gyrosphere depot. We brought it down here because all that's left of the gyrosphere depot is just this part. We brought this down here because there's a set of steps that lead down, and people, they actually use that as a wedding venue.
Oh, that's cool. Here,
Yeah.
you turn around. I'm gonna have you in this big. Turn around. Turn around.
Well, let me,
1, 2, 3. Go. Yeah, I do it at 0.5. Cheese.
There's a submarine in this room.
I submarine
For lost. You can go in there.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
Lost.
go ahead, go on in. A lost submarine.
Cool.
Yeah.
So dark in here. This is a TV show called Lost. It's a very good Dinosaurs! You guys see there's dinosaurs over there from Jurassic World? Oh, and there's a guy.
T-Rex.
That's the velociraptor. That's the pterodactyl T-Rex. That's the thing they found in the shed.
Yeah. Cool. No, this is not a deep information. But this is from Jurassic World in 2015. Oh, we need a driver. Someone's gonna be a driver. Okay, no, come on, baby. Get in there. But he's the driver. You come pop your head out back here. Alright, come on this side, pop out so I get you. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, and Triple Frontier. They had robbed millions of dollars. They were coming out and had their money underneath a helicopter. The money bags were so heavy that they had to crash land the helicopter. They walked over and they bought some mules from some villagers. You're going to be able to see the cliff that they walked the mules along. In the movie, there was a 2,000-foot fall down the Andes Mountains. One of the mules, they were pushing and shoving, and one of the mules fell off the cliff 2,000 feet down the Andes Mountains. But you can see this cliff is made out of styrofoam, plywood, chicken wire, stucco, painted to make it look like a real cliff. There's quite a bit of metal in there because they did walk the mules along this cliff. but that 2,000-foot fall was all CGI, computer-generated imaging. A little bit of Hollywood magic for you here this afternoon. No mules were harmed in the making of that scene, okay? On the right-hand side, we got Rainbow Beach. It's a favorite spot for some of the local surfers. And then you got the Kamehameha Highway down here. 68 miles of highway goes all the way around the whole island. I suggest you take a whole day to go around the whole island. You can see some of the most beautiful, pristine beaches out there. You got Sunset Beach, Pipeline, Waimea Bay. Those are the 3 beaches on the North Shore that they use for surf competition when it's televised. And then there's a lot of good food trucks to eat at along the way out there on the North Shore, especially in Kahuku. Make it out to historic Haleiwa town. There's a place out there called Matsumoto's that you can get shave ice made out of ice cream shave ice. It's pretty ono. So, ono means good. Alright, we're going to get down here, and if you guys go out to Haleiwa, I'm going to hold back here just a little bit so we don't have to eat their dust. But if you make it out to Haleiwa, they've got the shave ice at Matsumoto's, and then if you guys like to snorkel, you're going to be just about guaranteed to be able to snorkel with some turtles out there at Haleiwa Beach Park. So that's kind of a day trip. You guys can actually go that way north and then go right down back into Honolulu that way as well. So you're about maybe an hour and a half from town if you go out that way. But we're going to go through what would be typical of an ancient Hawaiian village. This village is pretty much set up like most of them would be. They would all have fresh water, they would all have different fruits and vegetables, and they would all have hale. Hale is a house. Unlike our houses today where everything's under one roof, not so back then. One to cook in, one to sleep in, one to tell a story in. The A-framed hale always used to build and store canoe. It was always down by the water, so they didn't have to carry their canoe quite so far. But you're going to be able to see that this hale is sitting directly on the soil, so nothing up underneath it. If you look, as we make our way around the corner here, you can see it's just the grass underneath that hale. Now we go by another village set up just a little bit different than this one, but in this one you can see coconut trees. You can see the Maya trees, which are apple bananas, both sides of the truck right now. The apple bananas, quite a bit sweeter than like a Chiquita or a Dole pineapple. Dole bananas. And you guys can buy a lot of what I talk about through our agriculture area. You can buy in our Kualoa Grown Market. I'll point that out when we get back to the depot. If you look over to the right, you can see an orange Hitachisaurus over there, along with a set used in Kong Skull Island. Samuel L. Jackson stood on that gray pile of rock over there. He lit up those 2 wood teepees. In the movie, there's a big lake, CGI in computer-generated lake, and he had thrown some fuel in the lake, threw a torch off of those rocks into the lake, kaboom! Tried to blow Kong up, didn't work though. That's a set that was used in Kong Skull Island. And then you've got several houses sprinkled throughout Kaʻaʻawa Valley. Most of the houses are owned by the ranch, rented to people who work here. I don't happen to live here. I live about 6 miles north, but a great place to live and work on the same property. And then also there's a movie site location for Midway. This movie was based on some untold real events, and it was a movie that shut the ranch down just for one day. And the reason they shut the ranch down is because they lit up some live explosions, and you can't have anybody on property when you're blowing anything up. Kind of a good idea, right? Yeah, and then you can see some more of our cattle up here. I'm going to let you know the cattle were brought over here back in the late 1700s by George Vancouver. He brought over a couple of head of cattle. The king put a kapu on the cattle, which is a law. It says you cannot touch my cattle. This went on for 50 years. After 50 years, there's 25,000 head of cattle on the island. They finally had to get the king to lift the kapu. And because what do cattle eat? Well, they eat grass. Well, most of their hales were made out of grass. So they finally got the king to lift the kapu. And then the only people who knew how to run a ranch, rope, ranch, steer, brand, all that stuff, was the Mexican cowboys. So that's who taught the people here on island how to run a ranch was the Mexican cowboys. Over here on the left-hand side, you can see our Dorper sheep. Now you can see that the sheep, some of them have got some wool left on them and some of them don't. So they're real low maintenance animal to care for because of the fact that they shed their own wool. First they lose it under their bellies, then up the sides, and from the nape of their neck to the buttocks is where they lose the wool last. But you can see some of these have got quite a bit of wool left on them, but when it gets really matted is when it starts to fall off. So these are our Dorper sheep, real low maintenance animal because of the fact that they shed their own wool. And then I'm going to teach you the Hawaiian name for cattle is going to be P-I-P-I. Who knows what that spells? Anybody know? P-I-P-I? P-P, that's right. Not P-E-E, but P-I-P-I, P-P. That's the Hawaiian word for cattle, P-P. All right, you guys, so now you know one Hawaiian word today. Of course, you probably know aloha and mahalo too. That's P-P is the cattle. Over on the left-hand side, and then again on the right, you're going to see the ulu tree. In the tree grows breadfruit. It's that light green fruit that you see in the ulu tree. And if you bake that fruit, it smells like bread, tastes like a potato. So anything you can do to a potato, you can do to breadfruit. Bake it, steam it, mash it, cut it up real thin, make ulu chips out of it. Ulu chips are my favorite, although the ulu, you can buy the ulu chips in our Koʻolau Road market. And then some of them have a white sap that's starting to come in on them, the breadfruit. It's very, very sticky. They used to extract the sap and use it to glue their canoes, their clothing. So a lot of uses for the ulu and breadfruit trees, yeah? So even the leaves themselves are very sticky. The 4 prawns that we are going by are where we raise and bring to market Malaysian prawns. And then we've got more Maya trees both sides of the truck, and then the papaya. These are all papaya trees over here on the right-hand side. Then straight ahead of us is our piggery. Now we dig down 10 feet. We put in great big tree branches, smaller and smaller branches up to 10 feet. Mulch, bark, microorganisms. It creates a living floor. So what happens is the waste goes through the floor, does away with a lot of the smell, a lot of the flies. But this is our piggery. Now, the building itself was part of the transportation shed in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. So I'm going to show you where that transportation shed was when we get down in the valley a little bit further. And then we took it apart to put a roof over our piggery. Now, Mama Pig had 4 little piglets, and the second pen to the left, they're about a week old now. So I've got to adjust my seat here a little bit. Put this behind it because I'm kind of short. There we go. Alright. So that's our piggery. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at our hen house right here on the right. And then we also have on the left, we've got turkeys. Okay, so they made it past Thanksgiving, these turkeys did. Right over here are our turkeys. Gobble, gobble, gobble. There they are. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yeah. And then on the left-hand side, also I want to point out our cacao trees. Who knows what cacao is used for?
Chocolate.
Right, so these are all chocolate trees, okay? 1 cacao pod equals 1 chocolate bar. You can buy our chocolate in our Koʻolau Grown Market and also in the Visitor Center. Over on the right-hand side, we've got more papaya, more Maya trees. Back behind the Maya is ko, which is sugar cane. And then we're going to go under the coconut trees, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our agriculture center where they meet every morning, figure out what they're going to work on. These guys are busy all year long. We're going to go right by the plumeria tree. Yellow and white flower is what makes the lei smell so good. All right. And then the shade house where they get everything started. Once it gets big enough, it goes in the ground. And then the cactus-looking fruit is all dragon fruit. Noni, Indian mulberry on the left-hand side here. And we're going to come right out of the agriculture area and go right into Jurassic Valley. So welcome to Jurassic Valley. I'm going to drive by real slow. You guys on the right can get a couple pictures, and then I'll go around to the right. You guys on the left can get some photos as well. Mountain in the middle, 2,265 feet high. Oʻahu, they figured that mountain got formed by two waves crashing together. They actually used that mountain as the smoking volcano in Jurassic World. That Pinscour Jeep that some of you guys got in it, took pictures in and around it, is the Pinscour Jeep that ran through Jurassic Valley with the Gallimimuses running right alongside of it. The backside of the Koʻolau Mountain range here on the left is they CGI'd in the monorail 200 feet up in Jurassic World. And then also I want to point out the Moai statue. This Moai statue was used in a National Geographic documentary. They're trying to figure out how they moved that Moai statue on Easter Island. It's called Walking with Giants. That's a really good documentary if you're interested in those kinds of things. So the Jurassic movies, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the three Jurassic movies that were filmed here. Jurassic Park is the first movie that really put Kualoa on the map of Hollywood. But they had done away with claymation. They used to use clay figures to move the big characters through different scenes, and then they came out with CGI, computer-generated imaging. And most of Jurassic Park was filmed over on the island of Kauai. What happened over there is a Category 5 hurricane ripped through that island, destroying every single movie set Steven Spielberg had. Hurricane Naniki 32 years ago. Destroyed all the movie sets that he had over there. He was pretty upset because he lost all of his movie sets, but at least his life was spared. Category 5 is pretty horrendous hurricane. He started looking around. First he went over to Big Island, then he went over to Maui, came out to Kualoa Ranch, and it's an iconic scene where Dr. Grant and the Hammond grandchildren were up on a hill. That hill is over here on the right-hand side. They realized the Gallimimuses were going to gallop. They took off running. They ran down, and they hid under the log over here that you see on the left-hand side over here. And the Gallimimuses jumped over it, beside it, around it. T-Rex came out of the tree line over there to the left, and you know what happened to those Gallimimuses if you've seen the first Jurassic Park. Now, is there anybody named Frank on my truck today? Do we have anybody named Frank? Okay, you guys, this is Frank. Frank is my dinosaur. Can you guys see Frank through the mirror? All right, the last stop that we make, there's another Jurassic log over there with a Jurassic Valley sign. I can put Frank in a picture for you if you like. He comes out pretty good. But we got quite a bit more to see before that happens. And we're going to get down here and talk a little bit about Nicki Minaj stood on the hillside right over here. On the right-hand side, shot her music video Starship. And then Rihanna was here for Battleship. And then a lot of musicians come out here, and I call it, they take pictures of the mountains and the valley, and then they piece everything together just like they do in the movies, and they makes for some pretty good music videos. And then just like they do in the movies, I call it cut and paste because that's really what they do. And then for my Lost fans, you guys saw Lost. There was 120 episodes of Lost. 50 of those episodes were filmed right here at Kualoa. Season 4, Hurley had found some golf clubs. He set up his 2-hole golf course right up at that second Lost placard you see up the hill there. And then long before Lost came into play here, Matthew Broderick stood in 8-foot deep footprints. You can see one big footprint on the right-hand side of Godzilla. On the hillside here, you're going to see another one flat on the ground on the right, and then there's going to be 2 more over on the left. You saw the American version of Godzilla. Godzilla had 3 toes. The Japanese version of Godzilla had 5 toes. But the reason that they're only 2 feet deep instead of 8 feet deep is our cattle don't see good at night, and they were slipping down into the footprints, so we had to fill them in for their safety. So you got 2 more over here on the left-hand side. I'm going to talk about Zac Efron, Adam Levine. Mike and Dave need wedding dates. Mike and Dave, their mother said you have to find a couple of dates to go to your sister's wedding. So what do? They take an ad out on Craigslist. And when they take that ad out, these 2 party girls answered the ad. The day before the wedding, they all come out to Kualoa Ranch. They rent a bunch of ATVs. 2 of them are up in the air over here on the left. The guys drove. The girls did a big jump over this hill, and the guys didn't want to get showed up, so they took off. One of them had a little accident, knocked the sister down. The back tire went right over her face the day before her wedding. So in the movies, they can make the hill look much bigger and the air time much longer. So that didn't go over too good. Everything looks bigger, though, in Hollywood, guys, right? Then I'm going to talk a little bit about Kate Hudson, Matt Dillon, Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson was the best man at their wedding. He had gone to the wrong island, so to get him to the right island, he talked the pilot into flying him right over here. They landed a small airplane right on this road, right at this film location in You, Me, and Dupree. And then there were several scenes from 50 First Dates that were filmed in this vicinity. Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler, Lucy, and Henry. Henry was always trying to jar Lucy's memory on who he was. So he thought, okay, today I've got it. I'm going to bring out my pet penguin. I'm going to set Willie right down on the road, right here at this film location sign. That's what he did. He set Willie right down the middle of the road right before Lucy was going to see Willie on her way to the Hukilau Cafe. She bent down to pick up something off of the floor, ran right over Willie. Oh! Willie didn't get hurt, however. He went right in between the tires. So we keep Styrofoam Willie up here commemorating his life was spared. And then the other scene of the many that were shot right in this area is when Ula, Henry's friend, was pretending he was beating Henry up, and Lucy saw that. On her way to the Hukilau Cafe, she got out at gate number 10 and chased and beat Ula up with a bat all the way down that fence line into those trees there to the left. Jack Black, Ruby Roundhouse, Dwayne Johnson in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Ruby Roundhouse was doing that dance to distract the guards so they could steal the helicopter. That transportation shed was up on the flat part of the hill under those coconut trees to the right of the road. We asked them to leave that transportation shed on property. We took it apart, put a roof over our piggery, also another building down in Hakipugu, so we repurposed the whole transportation shed. Pearl Harbor film location from Battery Cooper all the way through the whole valley. Most of the explosions were CGI, computer generated. They did fly airplanes up over the left-hand side of the low part of the mountain here on the left, flying towards Battery Cooper. And then I talked about Wind Talkers, Nicolas Cage, the Battle of Saipan, trying to break the Navajo code. This movie shut the ranch down for about 4 days. They had to buy every seat on every tour every day to make the Battle of Saipan because they had to explode 280 live explosions. So nothing to that magnitude happens anymore. But there is a makeshift cannon in the middle of the hillside there for Wind Talkers. And then Triple Frontier, where they crash landed the helicopter I talked about. They crash landed the helicopter right up here in the valley. Now this was the cocaine fields in the movie, and the villagers, they were pretty upset that they landed right in the middle of their fields, and they didn't really want to sell their mules to these villagers, but they wanted to get them out of there. So they sold them the mules, but the military ops guys had to pay a pretty price for those mules. But when they filmed here, there was 30 of these small buildings that you see. And there's only a couple of buildings up here that are left. But when they shot Triple Frontier, they had about 30 of those buildings up here. And then you're going to see another small building around the corner here on the right-hand side where they had the goats and the sheep. and Triple Frontier. About 90% of the movie was filmed right here at Kualoa in all three of our land divisions. So here in Kaʻaʻawa, Kualoa, and Hakipuku as well. So this is where on the right hand side where the sheep and the goats were in the movie. And then we're going to get around the corner. If you guys look straight ahead, the mountain where you see the triangle at the top, that is the volcano mountain that they used for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But of course it was highly CGI'd, but that's the shape of the mountain that they used, was the mountain right there that I pointed out to the right. And then the one straight ahead of us right now, you can just see the top of it. That was the one that they used for the smoking volcano. We're going to get around the corner here. I will stop here for just a minute and let you guys take a picture. You will be able to see all the way out into the ocean out there. And then this is the back side of Kualoa, the Koʻolau Mountain range. When you guys first pulled up to the ranch, that was the front of Kualoa. This is actually the back side of that same mountain range. If you guys need to stand for a minute, go ahead. If not, I'm going to go ahead and if you guys, when we make this corner, you look up on the right hand side where the grassy area is, follow it all the way up, you're going to see the Gyrosphere Depot up there. You can see the roof of the depot right up there, right up the hill. Okay, everybody buckle back in because we're going to go down the hill. Alright, here we go. So we make our way down to the bottom here. You guys can take a look at the hollow tree right over here to the left. Kind of looks like there is a fruit. Kind of looks like a pineapple in that tree. Doesn't taste anything like a pineapple. It tastes pretty soapy. Now you guys don't want to know how I know how soap tastes, but I did taste that fruit a few years back. And yeah, it's pretty soapy tasting. So down around the corner we go, kind of our little mini roller coaster ride. Here we go. And I want to point out our state tree. It's the kukui tree. You can see on both sides of the truck. Now the kukui tree produces kukui nuts. Now the kukui nuts are super oily, so they used to use them as a laxative. So you never want to eat too many kukui today. You eat too many kukui, you will go kapooey. That's right. And then they also call this tree candle nut. You group a bunch of the nuts together, light them on fire, they burn much like a torch does. So, you saw Moana, the torches they used in Moana were kukui nuts. And then what we use the kukui nuts for today is the nut is dried out, it's polished, and then it's strung together to make kukui lead. So, several uses, again, for another tree. So multiple uses for different plants and trees. So we're going to get around the corner and I will talk a little bit about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You guys are going to be able to look to the right up the hill and you're going to see the Gyrosphere Depot. The Baryonyx Depot, excuse me. The Baryonyx bunker right up there. You can see the Gyrosphere Depot over here as well if you follow the grass up. But the Baryonyx bunker used in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You can see some people walking around up there. That's part of the Jurassic Adventure Tour. You can see that red and white tower up there. They only built half the tower. And then they CGI the rest of it. So they built the Baryonyx bunker when they didn't like where this bottom bunker was. Steven Spielberg didn't like where the bottom bunker was. So they built that upper bunker for the Baryonyx bunker, and the lower bunker they just used as a dressing room. There was a cage over there that they had a containment for blue over there. And then the hill that they ran down when the mountain exploded, you can't really see the hill that they ran down. Owen, Chris Pratt, and Bryce Dallas Howard, that's the over there in that area is the hill that they ran down in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So we used to never come back here. They just kind of added this road and that just were on, and then this back way to get back over to the main road we were on. But I want to let you know that Kualoa means long back, and Kualoa is the most sacred land on the whole island. And the reason that it's so sacred here is this is where they believe a lot of the Ali'i are buried, in the lava tubes and the caves. Okay? So, they wanted to bring the movie site tour over here, back in here, to kind of talk a little bit about what they believe that the Ali'i are buried in the lava tubes and the caves. So what they would do when one of the Ali'i would die, two men were chosen. They were said to be very sacred men because they had the privilege of going to bury the Ali'i. So they would bury the Ali'i, and then they would go to another section of the mountain and jump off. So nobody ever knew where the Ali'i were buried, or are buried even today. So from Kualoa all the way into town, Honolulu, is a lot of lava tubes in the caves in these high mountains. So it's totally forbidden at all to go into the Koʻolau Mountain Range. And there's several other ranges that people are not supposed to be in. Now, do they go in there? They do. Now, do people come to Kualoa and try and get up into the lava tubes in the caves? Not so much here, because there's security here all the time, 24 hours a day. So it's very rarely anybody gets up into these high mountains. That's why they brought us back here. And then also, you can see it's a pretty nice view back here as well. We're going to go by another village, set up a little bit different than the first one we went by. If you remember, the first one was sitting directly on the soil, right? So nothing up underneath it. These halei's are sitting up on lava rock. So the A-frame always used to build and store canoe and set up on 4 levels of lava rock, and then the bigger haulei is set up on several layers of lava rock. So this is the way it was back then. The higher the rock, the higher the Ali'i or chief. So the Ali'i who lived in this building, or lived in this village, was pretty high up on the hierarchy of things because of the amount of lava rock that was used. So this was probably his living quarters because of the size of it. Maybe the next one was his kitchen area. Maybe the last one's where he told story. But a pretty high Ali'i lived in this village because of the amount of lava rock that was used to build his, it's probably his, because of the size, that was his living quarters. Maybe the next one was his kitchen, maybe the last one's where he told the story. So we're going to get down around the corner here to our last stop where you guys get to get off. If anybody has seen Kong Skull Island, and for everybody who hasn't, I'm going to welcome everybody to the boneyard, okay? Now the boneyard, please do not sit, stand, lean on, pick up, or throw any of the bones. Most of them are made out of styrofoam. Some of the bones have chicken wire and rebar in them. But if everybody stays off the bones, we'll all be safe. You can sit in the gorilla's hand if you like, and then I can meet you over by the log over here on the right-hand side, the Jurassic Valley sign. Take some pictures with my dinosaur. Right, it comes out. And then if you guys see cow manure out there on the ground, that's not part of the movie set. That's going to be real cow manure. So everybody just kind of watch your step, okay? Let me get the steps down for you.
Dinosaur. guys, go stand underneath the teeth.
No, I didn't.
Just leave it alone. Go. Goodbye. Turn. Alright guys, smile. Where's Bailey? Oh, Phoenix, there's Phoenix. Where's Bailey? Found her!
Hi, that's... Mine's a square, but mine isn't a pool.
All right, you guys, this one costs quite a bit to produce. They didn't want to have to shut the ranch down. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. And so what they did is they built a big wall across here. When they built that big wall, they put up that black material you see on construction sites, and they blacked everything out. And then they were flying people through the air. They had a fog machine. And but that one cost quite a bit to produce because they didn't want to have to shut the ranch down. So they did a lot of shooting at night. There was a lot of different scenes that they shot in the boneyard, so this will cost quite a bit to produce. Now, we are going to get up here and talk a little bit about the different movies. There's 3 different movies that came out here last year, and can't tell you anything about the movies till they come out in the theater, but that's what we have to be, and we have to agree to be real hush-hush about everything until it comes out in the theater. You can see a couple of our longhorn steers over here, Malia and her baby. Malia came to us from the island of Maui. She was a rescue, and she actually was in the Lahaina fires. If you remember, about a year and a half ago, the Lahaina fires, Malia was a rescue from over there. 2 weeks after she was here, she had that calf. They didn't even know she was pregnant. She was skin and bones. And the baby calf was so small that they had to take it back to the main ranch and bottle fed that baby for 6 weeks. And then, of course, they brought her back over here. And they're pretty happy together. I'm going to talk and tell you about George of the Jungle. There was 2 kissing gorillas they used in George of the Jungle. They're going to be over here on the left-hand side. It's part of the mountain range over here to the left. I can see those 2 kissing gorillas as I pass by right here. See the V in the sky? The V in the sky looks like 2 big rocks. You can see the 2 kissing gorillas right over here on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is where they rode the elephant after they got married. On the right-hand side, the backside of Kualoa. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He likes to come home, close to home, and shoot movies because he lives on Maui. But in this movie, Journey to Mysterious Island, they were discovered the city of Atlantis in that movie. And the city of Atlantis was CGI'd in over there in the middle of Jurassic Valley. But in the movie, they found that city of Atlantis, the walls, the first part of the walls and the gate were all CGI. Were all made out of styrofoam. The city itself was CGI, but they also had a couple of iguana eggs, a termite hill, and a big seashell. But everything looks bigger in Hollywood, yeah? Like I said earlier. And then my favorite movie we're coming up on is Finding Ohana. And Finding Ohana means family. These 2 kids break into the Kualoa Ranch looking for buried treasure. They come up from our surf gate, which is a real gate. They were looking for buried treasure, and they land over in the middle of Jurassic Valley. One of the workers in the movie spots those kids. They take off running, and they run up into the high mountains. Well, remember I told you what's up in the high mountains? In the lava tubes in the caves? Yes, they came in and they disturbed the bones. And when they disturbed the bones, the night marchers came out. When the night marchers came out, that's all I can tell you about the movie in case you guys want to watch Finding Ohana. I don't want to spoil anything. Netflix original. My favorite movie that was filmed here, Finding Ohana. All right, up past Battery Cooper, we're going to go. And you guys be able to see another great view of the Pacific Ocean down there, Rainbow Beach. And then we're going to go right by the Ahupua'a marker. The Oʻahu is the rock altar. The pua'a is a pig, so it's a carving of a wooden pig's head. And then also, the way it looks today is a brown road sign that's out there on the road. What the heck is going on here?
ATVs are coming.
I'm gonna go around these guys. We're gonna go around you guys. So here's the Ahupua'a marker right over here. The Ahu meaning the rock altar, the Pua'a meaning the pig. And then the way it looks today is a brown road sign. That white pile of rock is the Ahu. The Pua'a is a pig. So that's what you see out there on the highway. So if you look out to the left, you can see that big land turtle out there. It's our active Kaneohe Marine Base. I talked about it earlier. And then the two smaller islands looks like mama and baby elephant out there. And we're going to get down here and you guys are going to be able to, between December, January, February, and March, the whales come down from Alaska. Now the whales are from the islands. They come home, have their calves, and they go back to Alaska. And then hundreds of years ago, when the sperm whale would die on the beaches, they would go down and they'd get the ivory from the whale. They would braid human hair through the ivory, and they would make necklaces for their ali'i. So only the ali'i were able to wear those necklaces. And then there's a legend that says that Kualoa, the god of the deep blue ocean, comes down and takes all the mana or power out of the whale or any animal that dies on the beaches. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our wild animals. We don't have very many, but we do have wild boar. Now the wild boar, we might be able to see some down in a fenced-in area that we have down here, the wild boar. The rat was around during the sugar mill days. They brought in the mongoose to eradicate the rat. But the rat is a night creature and the mongoose is a day creature. So it didn't do a whole lot of good bringing the mongoose in. And then besides the chickens and the roosters that crow at all hours of the day and night, that's about the extent of our wild animals. We don't have very many. So let me see, we're going to just be able to just drive by here, so I'm trying to get you guys back as close to on time as I can. But you can see some of the wild boar as we drive by here. Some pretty big ones here. We feed these guys a couple times a day. Those are our wild boar. And then I'm going to tell you one last mo'olelo to get us back to the depot. Pele, who was the goddess of fire over on the Big Island. She didn't want to let her volcano go out. She needed to get a message to her warrior friend. So instead of letting her volcano go out, she summoned her little sister Hi'iaka to go from Kauai to Oʻahu to get the message to her warrior friend. Now Hi'iaka got over here. She ran into a big mo'o, which is a big lizard dragon. The mo'o was causing all kinds of havoc here on the island. Did not want to let Hi'iaka pass. Now Hi'iaka was pretty determined to get the message to Pele's warrior friend. So she fought the mo'o for 3 days and 3 nights. After the third night, she cut off the mo'o's tail, threw it into the water, and it coiled up. Then she threw his body over to the leg. You guys remember what I said Kualoa means? Long back. The long back of the Koʻolau Mountain is considered to be the long back of that mo'o. The tail, however, you can never see over on the land because it's coiled up over here in the water. Mo'oli'i Island. Mo'o means little lizard. So now you guys know the whole mo'olelo. So we're going to get down here and I'll stop just real briefly for you guys on the left to get a picture. Then I'll go around to the left. You guys on the right can get the same photo. And then let you guys know that about Poliku Gardens. Somebody's going to get married up here late this afternoon or early evening at Poliku Gardens. It's one of our wedding venues. It's the favorite spot because of the view that you guys are going to see here in just a minute, is the view that they see when they recite their wedding vows. So Poliku Gardens. And then when we come out into the opening, you're going to be able to see the Koʻolau Mountain, the long back of that mo'o right over here on the right-hand side when we come out of the opening. And then on the left, of course, you're going to be able to see Mokuli'i Island and those other things that I talked about, along with 15,000 acres of sheltered water known as our Kaʻaʻawa Valley and the Koʻolau Mountain Range. But here's Paliku Gardens, and looks like they've getting up some more festivities for that wedding tonight. So on the right, the long back of the mo'o, then the tail you guys might know is Chinaman's Hat, but the actual name for it is Mokuli'i Island out there. And you can see the Koʻolau Mountain Range as well. So on behalf of myself and the Kualoa Ranch, I want to say mahalo for taking the movie and ranch site tour with me this afternoon. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour as much as I enjoyed giving the tour. Make sure you look around your seats for anything you brought with you. You don't want to forget anything. If you want to take a look at that photo that was taken of you, you can view that behind the visitor center and purchase it if you like. Also, if you want to, okay, he's going to let me go. If you want to see that photo, you can view that behind the visitor station and purchase it if you like. And if you want to spread a little aloha to me in the form of gratuity, tipping is greatly appreciated, and it is allowed here. And then you guys be safe the rest of the day. Safe travels back to your homes whenever that happens. Always remember to be kind to yourself and kind to other people today and every day. Then there is a QR code on the back of my truck. You can scan the code, give me a shout out. My name is Elsie. If you like the tour, you can let me know if there's anything I can do to improve the tour. I appreciate that as well. And then if you want to go into our Kualoa Grown Market, it's going to be right up this right-hand side. And then you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Mahalo.
Thank you so much for coming on the movie sites tour with us here at Kualoa Ranch. What a cool tour. They filmed so many television shows and movies here at Kualoa Ranch in Hawaii, and there was incredible views and lots of history, and it was very fun to explore. I hope you guys enjoyed going on the tour as much as we enjoyed going on the tour. If you're not already, make sure to like and subscribe here at our page, Adventure Isle, for lots more travel fun.